I'm officially welcoming you to the High Functioning Codependency Recovery Workshop. Woo woo. I'm honored that you're here live. I'm honored if you are watching this after the fact. So psyched that you guys give a crap about your relational skills, right? A lot of people say, I really want better relationships. I really want to find good love. I really want to be healthy and abundant and joyful in my relationships, but they don't do it. But here you guys are actually doing the thing that's going to get you the thing, right? Because the thing doesn't usually just float out of the sky into your lap. We got to do something to it. Yeah. So for those of you who signed up to get the recording, because maybe it's a million o'clock where you live or whatever it is, I'm so pumped that you're doing that too. You might have other commitments, but I'm just grateful because you people are my people. And I'm so grateful you exist because I don't know what I would be doing for a living if you didn't exist, that you want to do this. So even if you're watching it after the fact, deep bow of gratitude. The way I work, the way this is going to be, this workshop will be interactive and practical, right? It's going to run about 90 minutes. We'll end with 20 minutes of Q&A. And towards the end, I'm going to share how you can take this work deeper with me. So I will be talking about that towards the end. So do me a favor. Turn off any distractions, you guys. You know, like give yourself the gift of your own presence. Don't have IG open next to you. Don't have 40 other tabs open. Really don't, right? Give yourself the luxury of your own presence and attention because that is hard to find these days, right? We will be sending out a beautiful workbook with the recording, but I don't want you to be distracted by that now. So you will have your workbook after the fact. So yes, if you want to take notes, you can, but we always send a workbook so that you don't have to take copious notes, right? Like for me, the best learning for you is going to happen if you can be here now, fully present for this experience. That is going to get you the most. All right, you guys, let's move on into a grounding. And again, if you're new here, if you're new to this part, my little corner of the interwebs, we do a grounding before everything that we do. You might want to get something that smells delicious, like this or like this. This is from Sage, a Canadian company. I'm really into olfactory deliciousness, and we do it every time before we do anything. So, all right, take a deep breath. I want you to rub your hands together. Get your geranium oil care. That's correct. Woo, that is delicious. Breathing in. If your legs are crossed, I'm going to ask you to uncross them, right? Because we really want to be like grounded with feet on the ground. I'm going to ask you to gently close your eyes. And let's just start by taking a few deep breaths. Breathing in through your nose and exhaling. Breathing in through your nose and exhaling. I want you to drop your attention inward. I don't know what you did before this call or what you need to do after this workshop. But I want you to give yourself a minute to fully arrive right here, right now. Feel yourself in your body. Now we're going to do a quick body scan, just starting from the top of your head. I want you to just slowly scan. And if there's any part of your body that needs your attention, like right now my neck is tight, so I'm going to move it around a little bit. Do whatever it is that you need to do. If you're having a feeling, a feeling of dread or a feeling of scarcity or fear, stop, take a deep breath into that space where you feel the feeling. And on the exhalation, you're going to visualize that the feeling is breaking up and moving effortlessly leaving your body with your breath. So we're just going to go from the top of our heads all the way down to the tips of our toes. Just paying attention and giving our body some love before we begin. And once you make it from the top to the tips, I'm going to ask you to bring your hand on your heart And we're going to take 2 deep breaths into the heart chakra with the intention that if there's anything that's blocking the heart chakra or hardened around the heart chakra, it's going to leave effortlessly with our out breath. Breathing in, release. Breathing in again, and release. This will allow you to come to this workshop with an open heart. Now I'm going to ask you to bring your attention to your 5th chakra, which is your throat chakra right here. Take 2 deep breaths in here with the same intention. If there's anything that's blocking your ability to talk true, we're going to be moving that out with the breath. Breathing in and exhale. Breathing in again and exhale. Allowing you to come to this call and share your truth. You're in a safe and sacred space to do so. And last, I'm going to ask you to bring your attention to your third eye, which is right between your eyebrows and a little bit up. And we're going to take 2 deep breaths into this space with the intention that if there's anything that's blocking your ability to access your own inner knowing, right, your gut instinct, your 6th sense, we're going to breathe into that space and release it with our breath. Breathing in and release. Breathing in again and release. Now, this allows you to come to this workshop with an open mind, which is always a beginner's mind. And last but not least, I'll ask you to set an intention for this workshop. My intention will be that you realize something. You have some epiphany. You learn something you didn't know before this next 90 minutes that helps you lessen your own suffering and elevate your own joy. And once you have your intention set, I'll ask you to lastly sort of close this grounding by taking a collective deep breath together on the count of 3, and we'll exhale audibly with a sigh, just because it feels good. 1, 2, 3, breathing in. Ah. All right, slowly allow yourself to come back to your body. Gently open your eyes. Welcome back. All right. So there's going to be a lot of class participation because that's how I teach and because I'm interested in you and because actually this is about you. So I'm going to give you some questions that I want you to answer for me in the chat, please. So is this you? Are you the one that everyone relies on? Right? You manage the details, you hold the emotional tone, you keep things running. People say you're amazing, but no one actually asks how you're doing, right? You're holding it all, but it's kind of heavy. That feels like you? All right, I see lots of yes, yes, yes. All right. How about this? And you could be all of these things, people. I'm going to be doing 3 archetypes. You could be all of them. Are you the one who never asks for help? Anybody? You show up for everyone else. You say yes when you kind of want to say no sometimes. You feel guilty taking up space. Rest feels selfish. Receiving feels uncomfortable. Anybody? Sometimes, lots of times, fuck yes. I like you from wherever you're from. Yes, yes, yes. Some people are in process. All right. What about, are you the one who keeps the peace? What about that? You avoid conflict. You smooth things over. You take responsibility for other people's emotions. Anybody? You look calm on the outside, but you feel kind of resentful underneath. Anybody? Raise your yes, I see you. I see you. Or what about you're the one who fixes everything? That was me. You jump in before anyone asks. You take on problems that aren't yours. Helping is how you feel safe. Being needed is how you feel worthy. Oh, crap. Yes. I see you, people. I am witnessing you with so much compassion. But just know from the response in the chat, you're in the right place. You're in the right workshop. Yes, you are. So you are not alone. the most important thing. And you're not broken, right? You're just an HFC. You're just a high functioning codependent. It's all right. Don't worry. We've got a recovery plan for that, my friend. So if you're here, chances are you've heard the phrase high functioning codependency, right? And maybe it landed in your body like a truth that you didn't have words for until now. Maybe you heard it on We Can Do Hard Things. Maybe you heard it somewhere else. Maybe you just read my book. But in that moment, the recognition of you being the one who handles it all, you anticipate, you fix, you overfunction, and you do it so well. I like to think as HFCs, we're like the Ginger Rogers is, who did all the that Fred Astaire did, except we do it backwards and in heels. Anybody? Yeah. Yeah. Most people don't even see the cost to what we're doing. They don't see the amount, but you feel it. Do you feel exhaustion? Do you feel guilt when you try to rest or when you try to not do something, right? The resentment that builds. This is really important, you guys, right? When your yeses are automatic, the resentment is so, right? The resentment builds for the automatic yes, but also your no's never feel safe because it's like we could get talked out of them. Yeah. Of course, feeling bad when you say no, Clara, that is just all the people. But today's workshop, what we're doing today, this is all about interrupting the pattern or the compulsion. It's more like it to overgive, overfunction, auto yes, all those things, and giving you some tools to begin recovering your energy, your boundaries, and your peace. And then in the end, I'm going to be talking about more things that you can do with me to really get into recovery. So we're going to be talking about the yes reflex, why you overcommit, and how to stop. I'm going to be giving you some simple scripts for setting and enforcing boundaries. We're going to do like a nervous system reboot, how to manage anxiety and guilt when prioritizing yourself, and the bigger framework that I use to help people just like you shift from overgiving, overfunctioning, being burnt out to just right in your one of a kind, amazing life. You have done enough for everyone else, people. Can we all be in agreement that we have done enough for other people? And that this time, this workshop, this healing process is for you. Before we jump into the tools, though, I want to start by giving you a deeper look at what's really going on under the surface, right? Of like, what is high functioning codependency and why it's been running your life? Because I want you to understand, like, you're okay, like, there's nothing wrong with you. Right? This is learned behavior. So when most people hear the word codependency, they picture someone sort of clinging to a toxic relationship, losing themselves completely to a partner. Do you know what I mean? Like codependency had this vibe of like the long-suffering wife sitting at home while the husband's out at the local bar spending the paycheck. You know what I mean? So high functioning codependency is different. It's different. Right? It doesn't look messy from the outside the way a lot of garden variety codependency can. And codependency when you are involved with an addict, which of course that is codependency too. But that's not what we're talking about, right? In fact, it often looks like being the most capable, most competent person in the room, right? We are the Ginger Rogers to the Fred Astaire. We're doing it. And that's the irony, is that the more capable you are, the less codependency looks like codependency. So it becomes really hard to spot, right? It's managing the travel plans, right? Remembering everyone's birthday. Anyone else? Diffusing tension at the dinner table before it even starts, right? Being the entertainer, especially if it's like a tense something. You're telling the stories. You don't have to worry about it. Holding space for other people's emotions while you're burying your own emotions, right? You become the one that everyone depends on, but you stop depending on anyone, right? We have, and I'll be talking about this when we talk about the qualities of HFC, but that hyper independence, wanting everything to be perfect, Karen, absolutely. Yes. I'm spitting to your soul. What? Yes. Indeed. Bubbly on the outside, exhausted on the inside. Perfect description, Clara. Yeah, this was me. It's exhausting. You become the one everyone depends on. You don't depend on anyone. You're praised for holding it all together, but quietly and inside, you're falling apart. Anybody? So, how do I define it? I define being a high functioning codependent as behaviors that include being overly invested in the feeling states. Oh my God, Caroline, stop it. I'm sorry. Caroline just said that she was a bridesmaid 9 times. In my 20s, I was a bridesmaid 8 times. And 4 of them I definitely should have said no to. Oh, yeah, Laura, people telling her, you're a saint. Yeah, I feel that. Overly engaged. I got it, Mackenzie. I feel you. Anyway, back to definition of high functioning codependency. It's you on this call being overly invested in the feeling states, the outcomes, the circumstances of the people in your life to the detriment of your own internal peace, your emotional or financial well being, right? Could be your mental health. We're overly invested. So it's different than regular codependency because it's different than being compassionate. It's not just being like, I really want my people to have what they want. It's us feeling responsible for how other people feel, for people getting their needs met. In my practice, I had super highly capable women. This is how the definition came about. If I would say to them, what you're describing is a codependent pattern, they would literally go, no, it's not. Are you talking to me, Terri? Everyone is dependent on me. I'm not dependent on squat, which you know. I'm making all the money. I'm doing all the emotional labor. I'm getting all the done. How am I codependent? And I was like, oh, my clients don't know what codependency is. So I knew something had to change. They were so offended by me saying they were codependent. And then I realized this is a different flavor of codependency. This is a modern flavor of codependency, and we needed an upgrade, which is why I created high functioning codependency, because nobody was talking about it. And it was my flavor of codependency. So I knew it well myself. And as soon as I added that, right, to it, my clients were able to say, not to quote Taylor, but I'm me. I'm the problem. It's me. If when I said high functioning codependency, they were like, oh my God, I'm exhausted. You are correct. I am getting all the things done for all the people. And I'm tired. And this was the beginning of the shift. But I knew long ago that this was a definition that nobody was talking about it. So as soon as my clients could see themselves, obviously you see the problem with being a therapist. If my client couldn't see themselves in the problem, how was I helping them get to a solution? So as soon as they could see themselves, then we were off to the races with people getting into recovery, which is what we're going to be talking about tonight. So what are the traits of high functioning codependency? You have overfunctioning, overgiving. You have auto advice giving, which is major. Anyone? And any auto advice givers here? Mm-hmm. Auto accommodating, where we see a need and we just like jump in. We just see a need and we're like, I got it. It could be on a train. It could be on a plane. It could be in an automobile. We do not care. We will jump in and fix whatever the problem is. You might be on the 12 or less line and you have 7 things and the person behind you has 1 thing and you just naturally wave them ahead of you. If you only have 1, you should go ahead of me because I am the queen of the world and I decide what are all the things that happen, right? Yes. Hyper independence. Do you love having people do things for you? Do you love it? No, you don't. No, you don't. Do you let anyone do it? Yes, the hair salon example someone was bringing up, that part of how this auto accommodating came about for me. I was in a hair salon. I was laying in a sink with a mask on my hair. The sink got busy. I felt like I should move. I raised my hand. I was like, maybe I should move because you could use the sink. And they were like, hello, we do this every Saturday, dude. We're fine. And I realized, why was I worrying about some that was not my side of the street at all? The sink flow of my salon. How is that my business? But other people will say, you were just being nice, Terri. No, no, I wasn't. I was afraid the people online were going to be mad at me. I was afraid the assistant was going to get in trouble. That's being controlling, not being nice. So we're going to get into it. But the reality is that the foundation for all of this, you guys, Garden variety codependency, high functioning codependency is control. This is a covert or overt bid, desire, attempt to control other people's outcomes, right? We don't like anyone being in pain. We don't like anyone having a problem. So you feel, right? You feel very self-identified. You get that this is where you are. So what is the cost of these behaviors? Like, why should you give a about, because some people will be like, I'm just being nice. And as soon as I clear them up of that misconception, because they're actually not being nice, if you don't have a problem, if you're not exhausted, if you love the way you're being in the world, then there's not a problem. But for most of you, you are tired. You're exhausted, right? Living your life through everyone else's point of view, right? Just exhausted from it. So, what is the cost to us? Living life light is one of the costs, meaning life doesn't hit as hard for us because we're always here. We're always anticipatory planning. We're always trying to help other people. We're always trying to avoid a conflict, make sure there's not a problem. So someone's talking, but we're well aware of everything else that's going on. That's living life light. Exactly, Sandra, the hypervigilance of trying to be secure safety, which is, of course, what we're doing. What are their costs? How much burnout do I see in my therapeutic practice? So many women coming in just burnt out. They're finally have hit the wall. Health problems, autoimmune disorders, from lupus to exhaustion, right? To all these health problems that I know are connected to having a burnt out adrenal system, right? Lack of joy, right? Feeling like everything in life. Cancer, Tamara said, and I could say that too, right? Major. Like we can't live in this state of hypervigilance forever. I feel you, Harriet. Digestive problems, massive. Internally annoyed all the time, said Kimberly, right? We're in the low grade annoyance. Can't wait for someone to cut us off in traffic. Can't wait to explode about something, right? Angry all the time. It's and exhausting. And we don't have to live this way, is the point, which is why you are here. Other costs besides us, yes, but then cost to other people, their autonomy. Us auto advice giving and bossing people around. We're trampling on their autonomy, whether it's grown children, whether it's friends, whether it's siblings. There's no acceptance of where someone is. People become projects and it doesn't feel good, right? It's dehumanizing. But recovery is possible. Yes, Sahil said mediocre quality of life. Fact. Hashimoto's, yes. All of these things are so true. So why should you care? Because there is so much on the other side of recovery for you. Joy, expansion, fun, being authentically known. How about that? How about real intimacy is on the other side? Acceptance, rest, surrender, calm, but surrendering to what is rather than feeling like we have to create it. Yeah, what's fun? Exactly. Just doing things because they feel good. And here's the thing, you guys, listen, I'm not going to be able to cover everything, right? Obviously, in a 90-minute workshop, but I am going to give you gems of wisdom. I want to illustrate to you. I want to show you how much change is possible for you, right? It's not about changing your whole life. It's about, I teach you small things that you can do. But there's so much hope for your recovery because at this point, I've helped thousands of people do it. And you're no different than them. So I just want to teach you tonight what is possible, right? If any of this feels familiar, then obviously you're in the right place. Duh, we know this. But I want to really drive home this point. You guys are not broken. You are patterned, which is different. Those patterns, they were learned. So those patterns can be unlearned, my friends. So this is not, you are not monumentally broken at your core. You are not. And I feel like a lot of times we feel that way, especially if we've had rough childhoods, we've got shame or guilt from that. But we're just going to start with like, what are the things that we need to unlearn, right? Let's start with the yes reflex, right? We're going to do something different. How do you deal with feeling sad and hopeless? Brenda, you changed something, babe. You changed something. You come here. You already did something. You already put your stake in the ground with the universe, Brenda, by coming here tonight. This is hope. This says, I know it can change. And I think this lady's going to help me change it. And she is. She is, meaning she, me. I am. Okay, moving on. So the yes reflex, let's talk about that, right? Why do we overcommit and how we can stop? This is a reaction that, sure, I can do it, even when you're exhausted, overwhelmed, quietly resentful. We've got that, yeah, sure, yeah, saying yes before checking in with yourself. You overbook, you overpromise, then you beat yourself up for feeling resentful about it or feeling drained. You confuse being available with being valuable. Do you see that those two things are not the same? Available doesn't have to equal being valuable. You are valuable simply by virtue of being alive. You don't have to earn love. You don't. You don't. So, question, can you right now recall when was the last time you said yes and immediately regretted it? Can anyone bring it to mind? You don't have to share, or you can. Like immediately. Yes. Uh-huh. Okay. Right? We remember. We know it. It's like literally happening in real time. We're just watching it. Like we're watching an accident. Like, why am I saying yes to this baby shower that I don't want to go to? Why? On a Sunday that's going to require me to travel or whatever the thing is. So we're doing this, right? This reflex isn't about the task itself, right? It's not about the baby shower. It's about the reflex itself is about safety, right? We want to stay safe. So saying yes is how we avoid conflict, rejection, or this feeling of like not being needed or not being important. Early conditioning for so many of us, right? That meant being liked or loved, meant being compliant, being helpful, being agreeable. Overcommitting became your emotional insurance policy, right? In your life. And it's the illusion of safety because we know it doesn't keep us safe. And it's so easy to, even in relationships where compliance is there, to confuse compatibility with compliance. Like how much are we really compatible, or are we just endlessly self-abandoning in the relationship and that's why it works? Yes, staying small meant safety. Exactly, Laura. Right? So what do we do with this auto yes situation? I want you to get it in your bones right now that you don't owe anyone an immediate response. So when someone asks you something, pause, take a breather. We're going to stop automatically saying yes to things that you really don't want to do or anything. Just stop saying yes to anything automatically right now, at least for the next 7 days, right? You're going to stop the process. Again, so much of what we're doing tonight is pattern interruptions. So you're creating space to breathe, to think. Do you want to do it? Right? There are some easy ways and easy language that you can use to interrupt this pattern. So we're just going to call it buying time, right? We're hitting a pause and we're going to buy time, and we're going to have these little words that are in your workbook. Don't worry, that you're going to be able to just have in your back pocket. When someone says, oh, hey, do you want to go to this party on Saturday night? Hey, thanks for thinking of me. I'll have to check my calendar. I'll get back to you tomorrow. I'll need to sleep on that. I've implemented a 24-hour decision-making policy for my sanity. How about that? Why can't we just say we've implemented a 24-hour decision-making policy? Because what we're telling people is, I don't have to give you an answer right now, and I'm not gonna because I feel like thinking about it. And that's my right. I want to check with my partner or my sister or my roommate before committing. I'll need to get back to you on that, but thanks for thinking of me. Right? We can always be grateful. Great. They can think about us. Thanks. But I want you planting it in your mind that you don't owe anyone an auto yes to anything. And this can save you, right? Because the more things that you do that you don't want to do, the more resentful you become. And the less things you do that you don't want to do, the less resentful you are, right? And then what happens is we blame the other people. We're like, I can't believe Betty would ask me to help her move, let's just say. And Betty's going to ask you, and lots of people are going to ask you to do the most outlandish shit ever. They could be as entitled as they want to be. We can't stop them from asking, right? So the whole point of buying time is being able to go back. It is so much easier to give an authentic, no, I can't, when you haven't already give a reflexive, yes. Then you got to change your mind, or then you got to get a migraine the morning of the baby shower, right? Where we find ways to get out of doing shit we don't want to do, right? Or then if we have to do it, we're like bitter about it. So this is the beginning of setting yourself up to not say no, any auto yeses, right? And Lily said, this is probably why I avoid and ghost people sometimes and feel tremendous guilt or shame. Yes, babe. Lily, this is why. But you don't have to. We'll give you little things to say for just easy no's. They're going to be in your workbook. You can do it, especially by text. That's a good way to start, right? You can do it. It's okay. You guys, I promise you, you are so smart. You can learn. This is just something no one taught you. So I'm here to teach you, you know? But you can learn. I've taught so many people, I promise you. So another thing we need to do now, we move it from, we're not saying auto yes, we buy time, and then we go back. Now, if we have to say no, right? I give you a bunch of scripts that you can say, and I want you to practice them before you say them. Why do we do that? You need to get them in your body. I need to decline your offer right now because I need to honor my family's, Sunday agreement, whatever. I checked with my husband and we're already committed on that date. I hope you guys have a great time, right? Again, it was so nice of you to think about me, right? But I've decided to keep my Sundays open for volunteering work, right? You don't have to give. You literally don't have to give a reason, but I want you to get it in your body right now. So let's just repeat after me. If you can do it, if you're somewhere where you can. Thank you for thinking of me, but I won't be able to make the party. Can you just get that in your body right now? Say it. Thank you for thinking of me, but I won't be able to make the party. I hope you guys have a great time. Or I appreciate the offer and I'm not available. How would that feel to say right now? Say it. I appreciate the offer and I'm not available. Do you feel that in your body? Yes, someone said, how do you say no to an ill parent? The same way you say no to a grown child, the same way you say no to everyone, right? We do it with love and with compassion. Alyssa said, saying it, she felt lighter immediately. She felt relief. It can feel good and uncomfortable. Yes, Caroline, both end, right? Both end. Even just thinking about it. That's not gonna work for me, but thanks for thinking of me. I love that, CB. These are great. But you guys get it in your body. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Someone said, I hate it when someone says no to me, but yeah, this is HFCs. We don't like it. We are boundary tramplers. Yes. So we have lots more boundary scripts for you, and we're going to be doing more boundary scripts. But I just wanted you to get from the reflexive yes to the buying time to the being able to give a legitimate no, right? So now that we've basically named the yes reflex, that automatic overcommitment that leaves you depleted, resentful, wondering why you're always the one holding everything up, right? How exhausting is that? Literally, you guys, this is a true story. When I first got together with my husband, he was widowed, had three acting out teenage sons. He would always draw our Christmas card every year, our holiday card. And, I came in and listen, I had healed my father wound, but I wouldn't say that my HFC was healed when we first got together 27 years ago. And in that image, I'm in the center. I'm holding up Baby New Year. He drew me as the center of the picture holding up Baby New Year, and the rest of the family is around me. And I was like, if that's not an HFC holiday card, I don't know what is. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, moving on. And when you try to pause or say no or pull back, what shows up for you? And this is what we need to deal with is the guilt or the fear or the voice that says they're going to be upset, you're being selfish. But this is exactly where boundaries come in, right? And I don't just mean knowing what your boundaries are. I mean, you have to know how to communicate them clearly and calmly and in a way that honors you just as much as it honors the relationship. Because without language, your boundaries just stay in your head, right? Your boundaries, your preferences, your desires, your limits, and your deal breakers. You have to know what those things are if you want to have really good relationships in your life. So I'm giving you some real scripts, actual words, so you're not stuck in the moment saying, "What do I even say?" Right? So some other, part of the process of you with boundaries is you figuring out where you need a boundary, right? So knowing your boundaries is one thing, but communicating them is a different story. And you guys are asking me, how do I do it without guilt, without fear, without fawning, right? This is something else entirely. How many of you suffer from guilt, fear, and fawning, sort of, where we're like stroking someone's ego so that we can say no and they won't be mad at us, right? We're working them. Amanda said I'm a fawner. Yes, I fawn nearly every day. It's exhausting. Preferences, desires, limits, and deal breakers. This is very helpful language for boundaries. Yes, Cassie, that's what Boundary Boss, my first book, was all about. And it's different than the way boundaries are written about most of the time. Um, as you get healthier in this process, it gets easier and easier. So the reason why I like you to rehearse what you said, why I asked you to say it before, is because sometimes when we're setting a boundary for the first time, especially if we haven't done it a lot, we can either freeze where the words don't come. Does anybody freeze? Or we can spontaneously cry, like spontaneously get red faced, spontaneous tears, oh, which is so like, oh, you're like, oh my God. It's so hard. But when we get it in our bodies, so you talk to a friend and say, hey, I'm going to have this conversation with my boss tomorrow or my boyfriend tomorrow, whoever. Can I say it to you? Right? You're going to see that getting it in your body is so helpful to having it come out smoothly when you're in the situation. So rehearsing is great. You know, if you often over explain, soften, or backtrack, then feel frustrated or annoyed, right? We don't want to do that. It's like the second someone is having a response to something, then we could I used to be like the queen of being the chameleon where I would suddenly change what I was saying. Oh, they didn't like that. Let me just move it over here, Anyway, most of us weren't taught how to set boundaries, which is why I wrote an entire book about it in 2021, not 19 anything. But what were we taught? How many people here were taught to be a good girl, to be a good boy? Turn that frown around. Hey, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Nobody was asking you your real thoughts on anything, were they? No. Nobody was telling me to tell the truth. Nobody was like, oh my God, you're so amazing that you're so assertive. No, that was not happening. Not in my life and not exactly. Children meant to be seen and not heard. No room. Nope. Exactly. So we know we come by our disordered boundaries honestly. We do. So again, if you grew up in a home also where speaking up led to tension, disapproval, being ignored, you may have learned that having needs made you difficult, right? So instead of asking directly in grown-up life, what happens? You hint, you soften, you hope someone just gets it, you hope someone reads your mind. We say things like, well, they should really know. I mean, it was obvious. All excuses not to speak up. You feel misunderstood when they don't get it, right? Maybe even ashamed for wanting anything at all. Right? So much of the time we're so into the auto giving of it all. Exactly. Molly said needs. What's that? Exactly. This is what makes boundary work so important. And it makes it hard. And it's not because you're doing it wrong, but because that people pleasing part of you, if you do like a parts work, right, is convinced it's protecting your relationships. by doing it this way, when really it's costing you your connection to yourself. And this is really, really important. And as we get into recovery from being high functioning codependents, we are reconnecting to ourselves. So a few more scripts just to keep in your back pocket. These are sentence starters, right? And it could just be as easy as, I'd like to make a simple request that we take turns deciding where we meet for dinner, right? That wouldn't be hard to say, would it? Or I would really appreciate it if you could allow me to finish my story before you tell yours. And sometimes you just need the words. I would be more comfortable if we could decide together when and where to meet, right? Or I thought you should know that when you interrupt my story, it makes me feel unimportant or that you're not listening. I wanted to bring this to your attention. And this is one that, I stopped drinking when I was young. So this is one I had to say to people that I worked with. The last few times we've gotten together, I paid more than my share since I don't drink. I should have asked you not to include me in the bar tab at the time, but if it happens again, I will. Right? It's like, I would really appreciate. I would like to bring to your attention. I need to tell you that. I want you to be aware of how I felt about our interaction last night. I've noticed that when I'm talking, you are frequently on your phone. Can you please put it down so we can both be present and enjoy our time together, please? Right? These are all ways that you can do it. And a lot of times in the beginning, we can even text it if it's hard to say. Yeah, Shannon said, I was told I was selfish when I had needs and desires. Yeah. So that also can make you not want to. Yes. People are like, but you can't say that to a narcissist. No, for a narcissist, you're playing chess, not this. So it's different, and we will talk about it. But I feel like even when you know what to say, it can still be challenging to do it. But having the scripts is super helpful for you. All of those will be in the workbook for you. Now, again, right? It's not just about the boundaries and knowing what to say. Here's the part that surprises so many people, that even when you know the boundary you need, even when you've practiced the words, your body might still shut down, right? Because it's not that you're weak, it's that your nervous system has been trained to see self-prioritization as a threat. So do you guys get that? It feels threatening to prioritize ourselves. And so before we can change how we show up out there, we have to regulate what's happening in here. So let's move into the nervous system reboot, shall we? Managing anxiety and guilt when prioritizing yourself. Yes, it's a threat. Yep. So let's just say, all right, you finally say no, or you ask for space, and immediately your stomach flips, your chest tightens, your whole body feels like you did something wrong, right? You're going into fight, flight, freeze, fawn, let's say. That's not a weakness. That's your nervous system doing its job, right? It learned to associate the self-prioritization with an emotional threat. So what do we do? Well, we need to do things that soothe. Because high functioning codependency isn't just a mental pattern, a behavioral relational pattern. It is a somatic one as well. So this lives in your nervous system and shows up anytime you go against the role that you've been praised for, the fixer, the giver, the calm one, right? The one who's willing to take one for the team at all costs. So this is why the right script doesn't work unless your body feels safe saying it, right? So one way that we create more safety in the body is through a dedicated meditation practice. And in the course that I'm going to be telling you about in the end, of course, every module has a guided meditation by me so we're hitting the unconscious and the conscious mind. And, meditation is something that even if you don't know how to meditate, if you have an ass and you have a couch, you are a meditator, my friend. All you need is insight timer. So meditation is one way, right, that we soothe. But in the moment, there's other ways that you can too, which is through pattern interruption, which this whole workshop is a pattern interruption. But what are other ways? If you find yourself getting activated, you could put a rubber band, and this is a cognitive behavior, a little exercise. Put a rubber band or a hair tie around your wrist. And as soon as you have that experience that you're getting jacked up about something, you're going to snap the rubber band and just say, you know what? Everything's okay. Take a deep breath. I'm safe. Get out a little bit of some lavender oil, something that smells good. Take a deep breath. But we need to interrupt the fight flight response. You can also plunge your hands in cold water, which I like to do. You can also hum, right? Humming really soothes anxiety, but it's something that can bring your body back into balance and alignment. All right, so we're going to do something together right now because in all of the work that I do, in all of my courses, I have a component of energy work and somatic healing because I've been a therapist for almost 30 years, 27 years. And I know that we can't just do one, that we are all made of energy. Energy is incredibly important. Many of you are empaths. You're highly sensitive people. So there's a lot, right, that is going on and that we need. So we're going to do this cross posture together from one of my friends who's the most brilliant energy person that I know. Her name is Lara Riggio. So we're going to do this cross posture together right now because I want you to feel what it feels like. So you're going to put your hands forward like this. Do you see how my hands are? And then you're going to cross them like this. And then you're going to bring them in like that. So let's just try this right now. I'll show you again. You're going to put your hands out with the backs of your hands facing each other. And then we're going to cross them over so we can interweave our fingers. And then we're going to pull it in like this. And I just want you to breathe. Sarah said I instantly smiled. It's so funny. So did I. You are bilaterally engaging your brain, breathing. Just breathing. This will instantly, or at least for me, calms. Yes, Mackenzie said it feels like hugging myself. It does. But there's so many of these things that I use, and in the course, the Breaking the Cycle of High Functioning Codependency course, you know, every single module also we have energy work, we have meditation because you're a full body person, like you're the whole enchilada, people. It can't just be your mind. Exactly, Solange. Deep breath and just allow your body to relax. So by now you've probably noticed in all of this that it's not just about saying yes when you want to say no. It's not just about boundaries, but bad boundaries, good boundaries, right? It's not just about what's happening in your body. High functioning codependency runs deep, and it didn't start with you. It started when love meant performance, right? It started when you learned to keep the peace or to stay small, to stay safe, right? When peace meant pleasing someone, when survival meant staying small. So all of you have come by this so honestly. And I just want you to know that I see you. Like, you're amazing. Nothing's wrong with you. But I see you. And these patterns do not have to run your life anymore. They don't. So if you want to truly shift, we can't just tweak behaviors, right? There's foundational stuff we need to move. We have to rewire beliefs, habits, emotional defaults that are running the show underneath. This is why I created this HFC Recovery Framework, and it's a system that is built around 5 pillars of self-mastery. So these are essentially the stages of deep personal and relational transformation. Each one is designed to help you go from overgiving and underliving to clear, calm, and fully self-determined, which is what I feel like we're not doing when we're actively living a high functioning codependent life. So the first pillar is self awareness, because we cannot change anything we are unaware of. Second pillar is self knowledge, where we dive deep in the course. So you're really unearthing and excavating things that have happened in your life because we must have self knowledge. This, trust me, if I could give you a magic pill or a magic formula or strategy that didn't require going back in time, I would, but it does. So, and I've been doing this long enough to know we can't skip that part. There is no bypassing. Moving from self knowledge, the third pillar is self acceptance, deep self acceptance of what we've experienced, of how we've lived, of what we've done. And then moving into incredible self compassion, which I think is the thing that most HFCs need the most and have the least of. It is so important. And last but not least, self love, right? It's self love and self celebration, like getting that who you are matters, that your preferences, your desires, your limits, your deal breakers, that what you think, what you want, how you feel is important and it has to be important to you. That is the process of recovery, not just insight, but integration, not just relief, but rewiring. If something landed for you guys in what we're talking about tonight, a moment of recognition, a quiet or extremely loud, that's me, then this is your moment to gently start choosing something different, right? If you're the one who everyone depends on, but no one checks in with you, if you're constantly overfunctioning but feel deeply under supported, then I want to invite you to join me for the next part of this journey, which is inside the brand new course I told you before I was going to tell you about. So I'm going to take a few minutes to tell you about it now, and then I promise I will answer your questions. It's called Breaking the Cycle of High Functioning Codependency, and it is your recovery roadmap. It's not a quick fix. It's not a surface level mindset shift. It's not that. It's a real guided process live by me to help you stop overgiving, to help you regulate guilt, speak your needs, and finally come back to yourself. Or for many of us, it would be coming back to ourselves for the very first time. So in this course, what's included is 6 core training modules, right? There'll be videos, integration exercises, boundary scripts, guided meditations, plus somatic practices and energy work to support your nervous system throughout, real life scenarios. I will be giving you client case studies, practice tools, private community of support, team TC, coach, as well as me, weekly live Q&A calls with me to answer all of your questions, lifetime access to the course itself, and a 14-day money-back guarantee because I believe in this work with my whole heart. So if this is something that sounds good to you, you have 2 options to join, and you can join right now. You pay in full, which is $497, or 3 monthly payments of $177. If you're ready to get started, go to terricole.com/stop, because we are stopping the cycle of high functioning codependency. terricole.com/stop. We start next week. Let's move on to the questions. Heather had a question. How do you not give advice or suggestions at work when you're supposed to be proactive? Well, at work, if it's your job, then you do make suggestions and give advice. If it's your coworker who you don't have power over and you're not responsible for, then you don't. So it's being discerning, Heather, about who you're talking to. All right, Tabitha had a question. How can you set boundaries with someone who has narcissistic tendencies? We cover that in the course, Tabitha, because when we're dealing with narcissists, the same rules of engagement don't apply. So I actually have a whole section in the course about how to identify the most common manipulation techniques that are used by narcissists and people with untreated cluster B personality disorders. So we cover that for sure in the course. And it's a lot. I mean, in the, time I got 20 minutes here, but I couldn't possibly walk you through all of it. It's just being aware of how they manipulate and not falling victim to that manipulation. All right, Gabby said, what if your job requires you to be an HFC? I'm a public interest lawyer, literally hired to solve people's problems and finding it hard to separate that mindset from my personal life. Welcome to being an HFC, babe. I'm a psychotherapist. How many people here, tell me in the chat, are in some kind of a job where being an HFC is an asset? Doing all the things for all the people, having all the great ideas, telling everyone what to do and loving it, always knowing what to do, never giving up, taking one for the team. Everybody, look, look, look. So, what you need is to turn it off. And I actually walk you through this process in the course of how do we shut down after work day to come into our nightlife, our real life in a healthier way. Right. And for me, I go through a whole process, which I share with you, because we have to get clear about who we're talking to. What you're talking about, Gabby, is a need for discernment. We must discern who we're talking to. Make sense? All right. Nancy said, how does all this work with children? Children who are college age and making big decisions, do I need to just sit back and see how they do, or can I offer help? I think it's important how we do it, Nance. Because I think that, listen, even college age kids, we are still required to, we're still guiding them in a way, but we need to respect their sovereignty too. So I think when a kid comes to you and says, I don't know what to do about school, right? You say, okay, so what do you think you should do? Always starting with asking what you think you should do to the other person before you are giving your 2 cents. So I think there's a give and take. And if you have something that you think is valuable to say about where they go to school or what they're doing or what they're choosing, you say, hey, I have a thought about that. Are you open to hearing it? And then if it's something that's more like they're doing something that you think is dangerous, then it's different, right? Because you're still parenting. If they're under 18, right? You're still parenting them. So I think it's a combo. But I do find it most interesting for you to find out what they're thinking. I think that that's most helpful for the kid, for you to be like what you think is important. All right, Ramona, Rebecca, and Lori, welcome to the new course. I'm so excited. Woohoo! It's gonna be great. All right. I don't know how to say the name. Janaki, I think it is. Did I say it right? So the question is, could it be that a partner seems like a narcissist, but the more you practice these clearer, healthier ways of having and communicating boundaries, their behavior also shifts. The defensive flipping slows, and they can hear better now that we are clearer in ourselves. It depends on if they seem like a narcissist. Okay. Yonika, thank you. Yonika, it depends on whether they seem like a narcissist or if they are a narcissist. And you don't need to know that right now. The more clear you become, the more your side of the street is clean and not their side of the street, right? When you change your side of the dance, they have to change their dance steps too. And trust me, it will be revealed whether they are a narcissist or not when you start to give a little pushback. But you are right. When you change, that person will change because they have no other choice. We can't stay the same. When one person in a dyad changes, it changes the dynamic of the relationship. Make sense? All right. Adele said, how do you really know the desires or wants that we have? Well, I walk you through it in the course, but we start with doing a list of what's happening in your life, right? What do you not want is usually easier to find out. So we go through a list of your life where you're basically doing an inventory of how things are for you. We also do a resentment inventory because it's very important to know what you don't want. And then it gets easier. A lot of people, Adele, who are high functioning codependents and have been for a long time, we don't know what we want because we focused on so many other people for so long. But give yourself a chance. And we walk through a lot of this within the course because you're not the only HFC who's sort of like, do I know what my desires and wants are? I haven't thought about it in years or decades for that matter. Amber said, I just read too much. Should I take this workshop? Yeah, hell yes, you certainly should. Because the book gives you the powerful insights, but the workshop is where you turn that insight into action with the person who wrote the book, right? Who better to guide you than me? Literally nobody. So it's where you get live access to me, real-time coaching from me, and community support so that you're not alone doing this work. So if you guys want to do it, go to terricole.com/stop. Yasmin asked the question, what's the difference? Codependency and high functioning codependency? Is that what you mean? I'd say they both have to do with being controlling of other people. High functioning codependents, we're not just codependently attached to the people in our lives. We are attached codependently to the world. So there's a difference. And a lot of times, if we think of traditional codependency, it is someone who might be involved with an alcoholic, right? Who's the long suffering, whatever. With high functioning codependency, the more high functioning you are, the less codependency looks like codependency. So you're doing all the things for all the people, you know? So that's the main difference, and that nobody can recognize it. Nobody's looking at you, right? Where if someone's in a codependent relationship and their partner is spending all their money, debting, like everyone knows it and they all feel sorry for that person. High functioning codependents, we're basically running the show. So it's different. So it's almost invisible, but it's super painful and we're tired. And there's a better way, which is the important thing. Do you recommend reading Boundary Boss before too much? I mean, I wrote them in order, sort of in that for on purpose, right? It was strategic. So I would say yeah, but they're both great. I think they're both valuable. Depends on where you are and what you need the most. All right, Jenna said, um, since discovering I'm an HFC, it feels like my whole life is a lie. I'm a spiritual teacher, and now I wonder if the reason I'm doing this is because these codependent tendencies. Is there anything you could recommend to work through that piece? Also, how to continue my relationship with my mom when I know we are codependent with each other? I would say you just slow down, my friend. Just slow down. We don't need to change everything overnight, right? Just be less codependent with your mom, create a little bit more space. Don't give her as much access. Don't have as much access to her. I don't think your whole life is a lie. Neither's mine, neither's anyone here. You're a good person, Jenna. You want to help people. You do. And is it tinged with codependency? Yes, it is. So's mine, right? But that doesn't mean that your heart is in the wrong place. And I think what you're going to see, and I hope you take the course, terricole.com/stop is where you guys are going to get it. I hope you can see that when we get on the other side, when we move into recovery in a real way, when we go through this process, all of our good qualities of being an HFC, meaning our highly capable stuff, just gets better. We're just less dysfunctional, which means that we're happier, we're more joyful. We allow the chips to fall where they may when they're not our motherfucking chips. It feels so good. It's a relief. I want you to visualize right now all of these backpacks of other people that you're carrying. Can you visualize putting them down and having that be the most loving thing that you could do? It is the most loving thing that you could do. And you guys, you have to think about this. What changes if you don't do something? Like, I want you to continue your healing process no matter what. But the reality is, what'll be different a year from now if you don't do something different now? I specifically made this course so doable, so affordable, and doing it in 6 weeks. Like, your entire life will be different in 6 weeks. So if you want that, terricole.com/stop, because we want to stop the cycle of high functioning codependency. Mary asked, what day and time would the coaching calls take place? The calls are going to be on Tuesdays at 12 p.m. Eastern. The course access, Tuesday, April 29th is when you get course access. And the first call is May 6th. So you will have that. I'm in Australia and can't attend the live calls while I miss out. Honestly, I don't think so. Every Q&A call is recorded and uploaded to your course portal within 24 hours. You can ask questions, right? So you can send in questions the night before, whatever it is. We give you the deadline for the questions. I usually answer all the questions. I really work to see you. Like I'm in this course. This isn't just me like driving by. I'm not sprinkling fairy dust and moving on. I'm in it with you for 6 weeks. Um, and we've had people take the course before and say, I was never on one live call and I transformed my ass off. So we know that it works just watching the replay. So wherever you are, and this is from an Australian alumni, said, I was initially concerned how the time difference would affect my experience, but it made no difference at all. The support and the way Terri structures the course helped me feel deeply seen, even across the world. Oh, thanks. All right. Katie said, when you coined the term HFC, does that imply that we are codependent and need those around us to be high functioning? Or does it mean we're codependent but hide it well to the rest of the world that, and therefore look like we are high functioning humans? Does that make sense? It does. When I coined high functioning codependent, I was basing it on my own flavor of codependency, which is I'm a very high functioning person, and all my clients, like we're very highly capable. So it's the more capable you are, the less codependency. It looks like codependency, but it still is there because we're still doing all the things for all the people and dialed into all the people, you know? Oh, I want to welcome Lily and Megan to the course. Thank you. I'm so excited. I can't wait to start, you guys. If this is resonating, go ahead and grab your spot, you guys, because the course starts April 29th. I'm so pumped. And you guys, this is the maiden voyage of this course. Like, this is the first time that I'm teaching it. So I'm so into it and so pumped. And I really did it because the We Can Do Hard Things situation that so many people were like, is there a course? Right? That go with it. I'm like, yes, there is. Here we go. So I'm super pumped. Welcome, Lily. Welcome, Megan. Megan and Morgan asked, how do you begin to rewire overinvestment in your partner's outcomes when it's a circumstance that actually does affect you in your future, such as their employment status? Well, I think that we can be invested in our partner's outcomes without being super controlling. So, of course, I'm invested in Vic's work life because his work life, how much money he makes, what he does, his success, his happiness, all of those things affect me, right? So I think we have to look at, in the course, I will teach you how to be discerning between overinvestment and investment. All right, Lori said, do you think a lot of HFCs stay focused on others because it feels too scary to finally focus totally on ourselves and looking inward? So fear-based reasons. Yes, Laura. I'll ask the group. Do you guys feel is part of being outwardly focused, right? Because it's scary to look in and scary to focus on me and scary to receive and scary to be vulnerable. But everything you want is on the other side of learning how to do that. And I promise you, I can teach you. Everything you want is on the other side. What does recovery look like? Expansion, joy, fun, relaxation, prioritizing ourselves, having deeper relationships, better intimacy, being more sexually satisfied. There's a whole section of the course on that. Because as HFCs, we're into checking boxes, even if it doesn't feel that great. Anybody? Does anybody feel like you need an HFC sexual part of the yes? And we're doing it. We're doing it. It's going to be great. terricole.com/stop. All right. Kaylee said, when you say recovery, are you referring to a 12-step program or your own system? My own system. My own system, my own paradigm, my own framework that I created over the last 27 years for recovery. Because I know it's possible. And what was happening is I was helping so many people individually that's when I started to be like, I got to write books. I got to do something to reach more people. Listen, I'm a good guide. You know what I mean? I know what I'm doing. I've been doing this for a long time. So yes, it's my own system. Are there any prerequisites for the course? Someone asked. No, there really aren't. All you need is your desire to stop overfunctioning and start showing up for yourself. I want you to think of this as a gift that you give yourself. A gift that you give yourself. When's the last time that you did something just for you Keep your eye on your own paper, just for you. We really need this. We need something. We need change. We need education. We need growth. And this is a gift that you can give. And I priced it as low as I possibly could. It's $497, and you can do 3 payments of 177, right? And we start on the 29th, and it's going to be amazing. And here's the thing. I always think about it in the terms of the investment now, right? If you don't make the investment now, where will you be in this time in 2026? Will you be having the same Groundhog Day experience of frustration and the same feeling underappreciated and the same being burnt out and exhausted, right? Will you? All right, welcome Barbara and Kelsey and Ann. Yippee! I don't want that for you. I want you to give yourself this gift. Ann had a great question, and I have a great answer. Can two HFCs be in a relationship together? Well, I happen to be an HFC in a relationship with an even bigger HFC, if you can believe it. So, yes, you can. How do you do it? How do you get out of it now that I've been in recovery for a long time? Vic and I both, though, our natures are to overgive and overdo and be overly invested and involved in all the things. And so we've just had to learn over the years to respect each other's process, respect each other's sovereignty, right? But we talk, and we've also both had a lot of therapy, which helped, right? Before we even got together. I mean, I said I'm not going to date anyone who hasn't had 20 years of therapy, and he had 20 years of therapy. So there you go. He was in his 40s, I was in my 30s. All right, Relene said, what about if you're married to an HFC? Well, having conversations with them, learning how to deal with it if you're not an HFC. But I wonder, are you an HFC too, Relene? Or do you feel like just your partner is an HFC? Yes. Someone's like, I want to do it. Do it. terricole.com/stop. Go. Let's do it. I'm so excited. You'll be done before the summer. Imagine having a summer where you actually do what you want to do. Not going to the beach if you hate the beach. Yeah. This is what awaits you in the Breaking the Cycle of High Functioning Codependency course that I literally made for you. terricole.com/stop. I mean, isn't it like literally, if not now, when? If not you, who? No one is doing this for us. We are doing this for us. No one, we don't need anyone's permission to do it. But we also don't have anyone doing it for us, right? We are the ones we've been waiting for. We really are. And I have no doubt that I can walk you through this and that you will be so much healthier and happier on the other side. And I'm so psyched to. I'm living proof. I'm living proof that you can do it. Yes, feel free. Pause away. Let's go. Marla said, asking myself, what do I want is impossible. How do I figure out what I want? You need more than a 90-minute workshop, my friend. Take the course. We do this in the course. You will find your way. You're changing your whole framework, your whole psychological and mental framework about yourself. That's the most important. And it becomes a joy and a privilege. You get to, Marla, discover who you are. What a blessing that you get to. We have a whole section on dating yourself, literally, and finding out who you are. That's a whole section of the course, literally based on this, because you're so not alone. Marla, who else feels like they don't know what they want? Who else feels like they don't know who they are in some really deep way? Yes, exactly. No idea. But how fun, because we're going to find out and we'll find out together. You're not alone. This is a sacred, safe place for you to change your life. And listen, you guys, I'm not the guru. I don't have the magic, right? I'm going to teach you things, and I hold up the mirror so you see your own magic. This course is about you. It's not about me. Oh, Marie Christine asked a great question, and I think this affects a lot of us. What happens when you're a highly sensitive person as well? How do you turn off that part of yourself? Oh, you don't, babe. You don't. You just take care of it. And I have a whole section of the course about being an empath and an HFC and and an HSP, a highly sensitive person, because I am. And what are the big and small things that we can do that honor our HSPness, which is a superpower? It is a superpower if you are taking care of your energy. And it is a liability if you are not. But I will teach you, Marie, because I'm both. I'm an empath and an HSP. And this is your superpower, trust me. But if we don't protect ourselves, we just walk around absolutely exhausted. terricole.com/stop. Go to it. Yes. Robin said, do you never give unsolicited advice? It's hard not to stop the train from going off the tracks. I like getting good advice sometimes. Other times, the you shoulders bug me. Here's the thing about unsolicited advice. What you learn in this course is what to do instead of auto advice giving, right? Because it doesn't mean you're never going to give advice. I do think you should stop give unsolicited advice, right? Because what does it mean? You can ask. You can always ask. You can always say, I have a thought about that, or I had a similar experience. Are you open to hearing it? We're respecting someone's right to say no if they don't want to. But what I'm teaching you is that the first stop on the bus should never be, this is what I think you should do. The first stop on the bus should always be, well, first tell me what you think you should do. If you only did that, if you only took that from this free workshop, your life will change. I promise you. Just that. Because it blocks intimacy so quickly when we're so quick to fix someone. Because you guys, as I said, those of you who saw me on We Can Do Hard Things, as I said on there, the real flex when it comes to love is not auto advice giving. It isn't telling people what to do. It's being able to hang with people during a dark night of the soul in the foxhole and not trying to fix them. It's saying, I love you enough. I'm witnessing you with compassion. Let me know how I can best support you. Instead of telling them what to do, because being a problem for someone to fix is so dehumanizing and feels terrible. You know what I mean? It feels terrible. You guys, this is the first time I'm doing it. terricole.com/stop. If you identified with any of this course is for you. I made it for you. Go to it. I had another question. I'm a single mom and managing a lot right now. How much time will this course take? First of all, I see you. As a single mom, I got you. This course is built to be flexible and supportive no matter what your schedule is. So here's the realistic breakdown, right? So the weekly content, you have an hour to move through each of the modules and the meditations and all of those things. And then you have a live Q&A, which this is optional, but that's about 75 minutes every other Tuesday at 12 p.m. And then you have the integration work that you do on your own time. So many students will set aside 20 minutes a day in their Zen Den, which I will walk you through how to set up, or do a longer session on the weekends. And keep in mind, you have lifetime access to this course, terricole.com/stop, lifetime access. So you can also really take your time if you need to. Welcome Ava, welcome Miriam, welcome Caroline. I'm so excited. You guys are doing the course. It's going to be amazing. But that's what I say to the single mom. I got you. Someone said, can you be both codependent and high functioning codependent? Yes, you can be both. You can, and really, there's a lot of similarities, because the similarities between codependent and HFC is that we're low key trying to control everything. You know what I mean? At the foundation, as I said before, of any kind of codependency is an overt or covert bid or attempt or desire to control other people's outcomes. So there is the similarity there. It's just, how do you present? And are you codependent with the rest of the world, which is a very specific HFC quality? All right. Jenny said, how can you discover your identity outside of that of helper? It feels so deeply ingrained that I don't even know who I am outside of being a high functioning codependent. You do though, Jenny, because part of that is your identity, babe. You are a helper. So am I. I'm a gal that was born to be of service. There's just a healthy way to do it and an unhealthy way to do it. So you don't have to abandon your identity as someone who's a helper. You just don't want to be a hyper helper. You just don't want to be a savior helper. You just don't want to do that instead of having real conversations, right? And all of that I walk you through. Tamales said, my therapist had me read Boundary Boss and it changed my entire life for the better. I've taken many of her courses and I grow even stronger with each one. Pattern interruptions are key. Oh, you've taken many of my courses. Why, thanks. I appreciate that, hot tamales with lots of ease. All right, Elizabeth said, thank you, Terri, for all your gems. I've experienced so much more peace with people after incorporating your scripts. You and your staff are real blessings to us all. Yes, and you guys, if you don't know me, you don't know that I have the best team in the world, and we are so focused on you and what you need. All right, so I'm going to actually wrap because I want to close on time because you guys all have things to do. I want to say congratulating yourself right now for showing up today. You already did something. This already breaks the cycle. What you did today, if you do nothing more, you have already put the universe on notice that some is about to change, right? This is where recovery already began in this workshop. And I promise you, if you decide to take the course, I'm a kick-ass guide. I'm a roadmap. I'm a GPS for you, right? I've got the flashlight right here on my head. I'm walking you down into the basement of your mind. I got a whole lot of love, but I really am thrilled to guide you. It is an honor and a privilege. So, this new breaking the cycle of high functioning codependence is for anybody ready to stop overfunctioning, right? Stop doing all the things for all the people, doing it in a loving way, but finally creating inner peace without all of this chronic guilt bullshit, right? You might be showing up for everyone else and ignoring your own needs. We want to be done with it. Saying yes because you're afraid of conflict, disapproval, being selfish. We want to be done with it. Keeping the peace, fixing problems, carrying the weight. We want to be done with it, right? No one notices how heavy this shit is for you, though, right? Because we're just offering to do it. Or maybe you've built your life on being there and being the one who can handle everything for your family of origin or your friend group. But lately, you've been wondering, is this really how I'm supposed to feel in my life? My God, I'm exhausted. If any of that resonates, this course is for you. And the best part, you won't be doing it alone. We'll meet for a live Q&A every Tuesday, where I'll answer all your questions, coach you through your blocks, support you in real time so we can move through the work together. It's my favorite thing to do. Breaking the cycle is designed to help you rewrite the limiting beliefs that you say your worth comes from being needed, because it does not. I think it's every Tuesday. There was a typo before that said every other Tuesday. So it's every Tuesday. And replace them with grounded, healthy self-worth rooted in who you are, my friends. So I'm super psyched. The last thing I'm going to say about this is that you're going to learn to say no without spiraling out of control. You're going to stop managing everyone else's emotions, set boundaries that are doable, not terrifying, regulate your nervous system in real time, and start showing up in your life in a way that feels calm and clear and true to you. I did this 27 years of doing this. This HFC Recovery Framework built on my 5 pillars is just for you. It's a proven process. I've guided thousands of people through it, and now I would be honored to walk you through it too. So if you felt seen in this workshop, if you're tired of being exhausted, resentful, invisible, if you're ready to stop managing everyone else's peace and start reclaiming your own, baby, this course is for you. And enrollment is now officially open, and the live cohort starts on the 29th. You can join today for $497 or 3 monthly payments of $177. Let's break the cycle together, you guys. Let's do it. terricole.com/stop. Yes, 12 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays, 75 minutes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. Last thing I want to say, this really is the last. P.S. This might not be for everyone, this last thing I'm going to say, but I do have If you're doing meaningful work in the world and you're craving something deeper to support you next level, I have 2 spots open in my mastermind. So this is a 9-month mastermind for women who are therapists, coaches, healers, creatives, entrepreneurs, building something big together. So this is something, if it's something that you're interested in, go to terricole.com/flourish. It is a very small group. There's less than 10 people in the group, and I have spots for 2 more. We have our first 3-day retreat for the mastermind in May, the end of May. So if it's interesting, go fill out the application. I would love to hop on a call with you. Thank you guys so much for being here. It has been an honor and a privilege to spend time with you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I cannot wait to see you on the inside of breaking the cycle of high functioning codependency. Woo! Thank you guys.